Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, Sarah. Okay, so we've probably got some people online. Hello to everyone. Um, Sarah, could you just give us a shout? Well, give us a shout. Can then put, so people put a message if you're on? Because I
We've
can't
got
see.
16 attendees here
What's
already.
that?
You're good to go.
We're good to go. Okay, brilliant. Cool. Okay, so welcome today. I hope you guys can all see me. Today we're going to talk about how to re-rank on declining products. And today it's going to be Matt and I talking. Well, it's going to be mainly Matt. He's provided a lot of the content on here. But just in terms, for those who don't know who we are, there's a number of people who've joined this webinar, which you're very welcome. We're an ad agency, primarily based in London, but most of our clients are in the US. I founded the company 13 years ago, and Matt has actually come on as a partner about July this year. And I'm not, for those of you who haven't kind of heard Matt speak on a topic on a certain topic within Amazon, you're really in for a treat. He really knows his stuff. It's been a real pleasure working with Matt actually over the last few months and just seeing how fast he moves and how his brain works. I've been trying to keep up, but I've been failing miserably every day. Right, it's been tough. But yeah, you're really in for a treat here. So today we're going to talk about kind of the issues, why is ranking declining? So I'm going to kind of cover this section, and then we're going to move over to Matt. We're going to really whiz through this as quick as possible because the really juicy stuff that comes after this in terms of how to actually fix it, how to fix the decline you're seeing in your organic rank. So let's go for it. Okay, so the competitive landscape. So that's changing drastically. Fortunately, we have a lot more reporting in place for us to understand what's going on. So how has the landscape changed in the last year? You might have seen a massive drop in price from your competitors due to a lot of Chinese sellers that have come in. We've seen that with a number of clients that we work with. There might be new features, additional extras that competitors have included that you haven't done, and that's kind of put you at a disadvantage. The Amazon Product Explorer tool is really good at giving you these insights to help you understand, okay, how many new people kind of come into the products that you're selling to do the same. There's a whole range of things. Is the cost per click increasing or declining? What is the volume of traffic that you're seeing across the products that you sell? So these are all factors that impact the performance of your account. So it might not be your PPC, it might not be your listings, it might be more of a macro influence that's having an impact on your account. So you can see within this listing quality again, you really have to be on top of your game now. I think a few years ago when I was looking at the search results pages, you can easily find a listing with one or two images, barely any text, and they can get away with it and generate decent revenues. Here's an example of another product here, but which isn't kind of as nice as its competitors, and kind of a lot more work could be done. So, are you actually is your images and videos and A+ content, is that up to scratch? Are you using the right terms? Are you using terms and keywords that are not included within the title and the description and the bullet points within the back end? Because it's going to give you far more it's going to give Amazon far more information. And Amazon now are looking for more information for every single ASIN, right? They're really going to try and understand that for all the information you provide them with. So whether that's from your title, your bullet points, the description, as well as the alt text that you put within the images. On top of that, we've also seen some really good results of kind of just answering questions. So the more questions that are answered, the more information you're then feeding back to Amazon about your product. So this information, in terms of like providing as much information regarding your listing to Amazon, is going to really help Amazon understand exactly what it is you're selling. So when you're kind of using PPC, you're using other things, it's going to help you position well for those terms. So that's something that's really important. And I know these sound really simple, but when we're looking at accounts, we always find similar issues where the images ain't up to scratch, or there's keywords that haven't been added to the back end. That's the big one that we always see. And then Matt, I'm going to pass it over to you now, if that's okay. Let's have a look.
Sorry, was
It's all right.
there we go. I think it's good now.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Do you want to keep sharing, George?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So this is something that we end up kind of diving into a lot with clients is what is the actual life cycle of search terms? Really kind of what George was hinting at, like the glory days of Amazon are over, where it just kind of stays growing. Now we're seeing a lot of major terms kind of die off. Example of this, like I sell in keto snacks. Over the last year, that keyword has gone from like 200,000 searches down to 20,000 searches a month. But it's been spread out further among a lot more kind of detailed keywords. So really tracking those life cycles and watching what's causing the dips and where those dips are going is huge, and you've got to be on top of those. Really digging deeper and figuring out what more detailed terms can be used to describe the products. Amazon gives us a little bit of this data through Product Opportunity Explorer, Search Query Reports. Google Trends gives you this information, but a lot of products, what we've seen is it changes very quickly, mainly because of TikTok. People see something on TikTok and then they just go and search based off of what they saw. And it really doesn't follow logical search terms for that product. So making sure you're staying up to date with those trends. And then really kind of what ad appears for what term and where they're appearing on the page. So I know for some of the terms we spend against, like the first organic listing is below the fold. On other terms, it's like right at the top. It really just depends. So making sure that you know what that search results page looks like for each of your terms and where you actually need to be spending and what positions you need to be in to make sure that you're maximizing those placements. Go ahead and go to the next, George. And then really what we're showing here with search term lifecycle, and we'll have another slide on this, like the search query report data is your friend. You'll see all of your seasonality trends. You'll see everything that's skyrocketing up or dropping. So make sure that you are pulling this weekly for all of your ASINs if you aren't already. It's really kind of the best visuals that you'll get into Amazon's internal search terms.
Yeah, and sorry, I actually pulled. I just surprised Matt and just put this image into this slide. So we got this from Brand Analytics, and to look at the top search terms, and you can see here there's just a whole range of people who are searching for TikTok made me buy it, TikTok remote control, TikTok must-haves. So these are massive trends that weren't there before, just to kind of cement on what Matt mentioned a minute ago, and that now appear. So it's good to be kind of vigilant of these terms within the brand analytics data that's provided to you.
Perfect. Yeah, and then so really the big one that I've been seeing that's been affecting a lot of the brands that we work with, and even my own brand, is suggested search. There's a couple different tools that we use that we'll go over later to help you pull all of this, but why are your main terms switching? A lot of times it's because of suggested search. Amazon actually did a suggested search shakeup like 3 or 4 months ago. A lot of you might have seen that. If you saw volumes drop, they kind of switched it back, but it's an ever-changing process. So making sure you're staying up to date on what Amazon's actually suggesting. There's typically 3 things that would make them naturally change. One is direct searches and purchases for that term. One is social traffic. So people are using URLs like two-step URLs without even realizing it because they're searching for a term on Amazon or a product on Amazon, and then they're creating an affiliate link with that search, and that will actually create a two-step URL for that keyword. So it can pop up. And then Amazon also does have listeners out to social networks and Google, and they're bringing all of that search and trend data in as well to really kind of manipulate how the suggested search works. If you are pulling your search query report data, you can trace back to exactly when it happened and pretty much pinpoint exactly what keywords it switched to. So as you're seeing these in real time, I know search query report data is delayed by a week, but if you start to sense something is off, make sure you're checking that data, because I can almost guarantee it was probably suggested search. And then the next big one, and this you can pull from the search query report data, or we use Data Rover because it allows us to pull like monthly, weekly data all the way back, just a lot simpler than the search query report data. But what does your conversion rate trends look like? Amazon doesn't care at the end of the day what your margins are or how much money you're making. All they care about is who's converting the most for those keywords when they get there. So you may be pulling back ad spend and trying to get your tacos or ACOS in line, but at the end of the day, you're going to sacrifice organic rankings, and it may not be that week, it may not be the week after, but in 3 to 4 weeks, you're going to start seeing that slide. The downside to this is you're going to have to work twice as hard to kind of recover those and actually end up overspending. So just make sure that you're adjusting things pretty evenly and giving it a good learning period before you just drastically drop bids or budgets for certain terms. But really here we want to be looking at how are we comparing to our competitors? Are they beating us? Is there a reason why they're beating us? What might be that root cause? Like, do we not have the right keywords towards the front of our title for that term? Do our images not describe it? Really, a lot of the basic things. And you can really test a lot of this with some third-party A/B testing softwares, and just making sure that everything is as good as it can be, and you're really putting your best foot forward for success on these conversion rates. All right, and then the big one, which we're going to talk about in depth here as well on how to fix these, is outside traffic. I know this has been a hot topic for a while on Amazon. A lot of people are kind of just spinning their wheels, and I would say most people that we've talked to or worked with haven't really actioned anything in this space. I will say this is probably going to be the biggest differentiator in the Amazon space in the next year to year and a half. As Amazon search gets more and more crowded, there's more ad placements, there's more competitors. This outside traffic will allow us to create a moat of traffic that we control, and we can really push listings when we want to, switch them out, pull out different listings, a lot of big things that you can do with it. So we'll go over how we can really dive deep into this and figure out what their sources of traffic are. Are they ranking organically in Google? What type of content is working well for them? And then how we can basically copy what they're doing, but do it a little bit better and start to activate a lot of that outside traffic. And really the best thing about this is a lot of it is outside SEO. So very minimal cost. It's not like you're spending on TikTok ads or Meta ads. It's a lot of just kind of content pieces that you're really putting together and internal teams can easily handle. All right, so how do we fix all of these issues? The first one, so competition and listing quality, we typically recommend these 3 things. First one is really figuring out what's going on with your content and listings. If you are in the SaaS program, you can ask for your IDQ report. It's actually in like the self-serve SaaS portal. Even if you're not in SaaS, you can technically email that email address and try. We've gotten them through before in the past. So if you get denied a few times, probably won't get it, but you can keep trying. So if you aren't in SaaS, you can go ahead and grab your category listing report. And really in these, we're just looking for missing content. Are category nodes correct? And are there any flagged terms or issues within the listing? I would say almost every single account we look at has category node issues. And this is not a fault of the seller. It's a fault of Amazon. As Amazon continues to develop their catalog, they create new nodes for your products to be in. A node is basically just your category hierarchy from top level all the way down. Say you sell a sandwich cookie and Amazon makes a new category for chocolate sandwich cookies. They have a hard time of putting listings that were already in a category into that new category that it should be, and then everything gets flagged, and you basically start to lose ranking for all of your keywords. So just double check all of those and make sure everything is good on the back end first. And then we recommend going through your keyword research. Really, a lot of people ask us what tools we use. We use all of these pretty much every single day. The biggest thing to remember with any third-party tools is none of the data is correct. It's guiding you in the right direction, but none of them are a single like source of truth for what's happening on Amazon. The only real ones are using Search Query Performance or Product Opportunity Explorer, and those are limited. Either if you aren't selling the product yet or you aren't selling well, you're not getting as much data through those as you would if you were having a bestseller within that category. So we recommend doing this monthly. On more competitive categories, you might want to do it weekly. Also, if you aren't in a competitive category, but are in a category that's heavily influenced by TikTok or influencer purchases, I would be pulling this weekly as well, just to make sure that you're lining everything up correctly and ensuring the right keywords are in your listing. And then the last piece is really the image stack. So recommend testing this as much as possible, doing different main images, different callouts, repositioning the item, shadows. You honestly never know what's going to make the difference. Was chatting with someone a few weeks ago about some recommendations that we chatted about like 6 months ago, and literally all they did was add a bow to the packaging and conversion rate shot up like 30-40%. So you never know. Honestly, test anything and everything, and use third-party A/B testing softwares like IntelliV to quickly get results and have like your 3 best images. Instead of testing 10 different ones on Amazon, you can test 10 on IntelliV, get a good rationale for which images would be good for your product, and then actually test those 3 on Amazon. So competition listing quality, again, here, really just looking through crafting a high converting listing. So after you do your keyword research, rewrite your listing. Highly recommend ChatGPT. You can do a lot of different things. We'll actually share over one of our custom GPTs that we're using to craft listings, doing a lot of semantic analysis and incorporating different pieces into the listing. Again, go ahead and send all this copy out to those A/B testing softwares and get all of your results back, and then test your 3 or 4 best performers actually on Amazon. And once you find a winner, it's really not time to stop testing. Like, continue testing, always be testing. You never know what's going to perform the best. The third piece that we kind of added here is once you've gotten all of your listings good, content, images, backend, you want to set up some single keyword campaigns for the keywords that you were losing ranks on with top of search modifiers, and really gauge for 3 or 4 days what that's going to convert like in a real world scenario, just so that you can get faster learnings. Because if you would just change it and keep things as they are, it may take you 3 or 4 weeks to start seeing significant data on it. So we want to kind of jumpstart that as much as possible. So set aside a little chunk of budget and do this on your major keywords. We're really not caring about ACoS or tacos here. We're looking at, are we getting increased click-through rates? Are impressions increasing? Because Amazon will actually throttle your impressions if they don't believe your content is good enough for that keyword. So we're looking for those metrics that, hey, the changes that we made are doing things. Now let's focus on conversion and tacos and ACoS after we've got a listing that's getting a high click-through and a high impression share. And basically, we'll keep rotating through these keywords until we get all of our target keywords performing well. So search term life cycle. So this is where we were talking about earlier. This is an example of one for one of my brands. You can see here, this is looking at overall search query volume, our impression share, our click share, add to carts and purchases, and it fluctuates quite a bit. And you can even see like December last year was way higher for us than what it is this year. And it's not that we aren't taking up more sales because we're doing more sales wise. We're having a higher purchase rate than last year, but overall search volume is down in our category. We know the exact like 40 keywords that are causing it, and we're kind of constantly scraping to see if we can find other keywords to go ahead and backfill that loss of traffic. Without tracking this in search query report data, you're really relying on like Helium 10 and some of those other tools to tell you how the search volume is shifting. And they may be somewhat in the right direction, but they aren't as quick and really spotting these turns. So I can tell you just by tracking this and making sure we're implementing different things on keywords that are working or are seeing more impressions, it's really what's been able to keep our business increasing this year. Without it, we'd probably be down about 20 to 25%. So take some time, sift through this, figure out which keywords are causing your decline, and then work through if there are feeder keywords that you can use to backfill that. If not, it's time to look into kind of your top of funnel strategy and what display ads or DSP ads you should be running to go ahead and continue to refill that customer funnel, and then we'll convert them down the line. All right, so search term shift. So this is something that happens. This is suggested search related. So there's two ways that we talked about earlier that this could happen. One is naturally through just general searches and social traffic. The second one is manipulation through a nefarious third party. This is something that's been rampant on Amazon for a very, very long time. I think as long as I've been selling, for at least the last like 13, 14 years, this has been a problem. But basically what these people are doing is they're using URLs to manipulate the searches on Amazon to make it seem like they're getting searched at a higher capacity. And Amazon will basically shift what the suggested search is saying. So you can check this in the old brand analytics report. I think it's called like top search terms now, and you can see every product's like click share, the search frequency rank, and the conversion share. What you're looking for is if you see a search term that's increasing like crazy for search frequency, and there's super high click through or click share rates for some of the products, but there's zero conversion share, most likely that means that those search terms are being manipulated. So you can see almost all of these are being manipulated in this screenshot. Unfortunately, it's really hard to overcome ones that are being nefariously manipulated, but majority of the time, Amazon will catch them with enough time and start to shift things back. But you may see diminished sales for a little bit. So this is where it's important to check that and just make sure that you're switching the keywords that you're targeting your ad campaigns towards these keywords that that competitor is trying to shift the searches towards. So how do we fix this problem? So if it's not a nefarious person that's attacking it, but it's a natural kind of shift that's happening, what you can do is basically run outside traffic, paid ad campaigns, or social posts with two-step URLs back to Amazon to go ahead and increase the keywords that are being searched. Usually within 2 to 3 weeks, you'll see most of that change. It's actually pretty easy to do, which is why a lot of these kind of nefarious sellers are pretty decent at it. But for big terms that are getting like 50, 60,000 searches a month, it is quite a bit harder. Sometimes it takes a month to 2 months to really kind of overcome that. So we use two tools to track how these shifts are happening and what terms are coming through. The first one is just called keywordtool.io. They do keywords for just about every search channel out there, but their Amazon tool is really good at suggested search, pre and post suggested search. And then the other one is AMZ Suggestion Expander. They have a free and a pro version. The free version is actually really good. So no reason to upgrade to pro unless you want to export mass amounts of data. But with these tools, you'll be able to stay on track with what's changing and update your listings or your ad campaigns to ensure you're still getting sales and impressions. So conversion rate metrics. This is probably one of the number one reasons why people start to decline in rankings for keywords. And again, it goes back to what we chatted about earlier, where Amazon doesn't care about your ACoS tacos or margins. They're just really looking at what is the best converting product and how am I giving the best experience to the end customer. So if you do start optimizing those ad campaigns for those, you're going to start seeing organic rankings drop. You've just got to make sure that you keep it within a decent level so that they don't drop too many positions, and you can kind of play with that fluctuation. So what we're looking at is, hey, we saw a huge drop in this keyword. Did our weekly ad spend drop on that keyword? Yes or no? Did our conversion rates drop? Yes or no? And then we're looking and seeing, okay, so everything either changed or stayed the same. If it stayed the same, we're looking at, did our volume increase or decrease in units? Because Amazon also looks at units moved on top of conversion rates. If we did see a decline in units, probably organic units from lower searches, organically, we'd have to bump up ads that following week to keep those rankings intact. If not, and everything was kind of down, we would reanalyze the search query data and look at a spreadsheet that we'll share with you that will show, hey, these are really the target purchases that I need per week with these conversion rates to ensure that I always stay ranked at this position. And then really the easiest way to fix these is increasing ad spend against those terms and increasing your top of search modifier. One thing I will say about top of search modifier, we do use them a lot, but a lot of times on things like this, it's better to manually do this and just naturally increase your bids up, because a lot of times the difference between position 1 and position 2, cost per click wise, could be a few dollars, and you're going to convert just as well in position 2 as you would in position 1. So no need to waste that extra money. So if you manually do that, you can really dial in position 2 placements on ads. Also, if you use a software like PackView, like we use, you can set up automations to basically make it so that your bid always stays consistent for position 2 in ads. So makes that quite a bit easier than manually checking it every few days. And then, so here's an example of that spreadsheet. So we're looking at really what our current ranking is, what the weekly keyword sales are, how much we're spending, what our conversion rate is, top ASINs, how many units they're moving, and if we're beating their conversions or not. And then we're looking at the delta of either conversion rate that we need to improve upon or unit velocity that we need to increase upon. So we pull this weekly and look at it. Typically, once an account's in pretty good standings, you only need to pull it weekly. If you're trying to re-rank heavily on products that have lost rankings, I would suggest doing this every few days just to make sure that you're staying in line with what the category is doing as a whole. The other way that you can look at this without that sheet is looking at your search query report data and Product Opportunity Explorer. I actually think Product Opportunity Explorer has probably some of the best data in it, and a lot of people don't look at it. They've updated it quite a bit in the last year, so if you haven't looked at it in a while, I would highly recommend it. It tells you the exact search volume, exact purchases, everything of the top keywords within your category. It also gives you a kind of semantic list of what's happening. Let me actually pull one up and I'll show you. I'm going to steal the screen from you, George. So we'll look at this one here. So we'll look at, because one of the other things I have up later is on pimple patches. So you'll probably hear a lot about semantic SEO, semantic content here in the near future as AI continues to develop out. One of the big things within that, which George and I will talk about a little bit later as well, is kind of your topical maps around that semantic SEO. And in the Opportunity Explorer, it actually shows you for the keyword like pimple patches, that is your main topical entity. These are all of the keywords that it finds relevant within that topical map. So, hey, you need to rank or get sales for all of these keywords for Amazon to say that, yes, you are a pimple patch or belong in this pimple patches knowledge graph. So it gives you a ton of data. It shows you really what's happening, what products are moving, clicks, sales, everything that you'd want. You also can now see, you can see review trends, you can see insights of new products, you can see returns. There's also another one that's not appearing right now, but there's one that's like reasons why people purchased it. It will call out like what they were searching and why they picked that. So amazing to look at. And like I'll search up here, I'll show you for pimple patches. So you can see Amazon has basically all of these topical entities. These are the master keywords that every keyword within those goes into. And then like, let's just say, click into pimple patches cute. It will then show me a different set of keywords that aligns with that topical entity. So if you want to rank for this main keyword, you need to be ranking for all of these keywords or at least getting sales. So it gives you a ton of knowledge and should definitely help products rank back up.
Can I just take the screen off you for a second?
Yeah. Yep, go for it.
1 second, let me just get this. Okay, hold on. So before we move on, just kind of wanted to show you guys on within the product opportunity explorer, there's a few really cool sections as well. So if you do put your own products in, I'm just going to use pimple patches as an example. You can also see the growth in those particular niches here. So you can then see, okay, right, for pimple patches cute, for example, in the last 180 days, there's been a drop in growth. This could be seasonal, could be because no one's really looking to buy them during Q4, but it's going to give you some really good insights. And then this is going to also give you some idea as well of whether you can segue in terms of the types of pimple patches you sell. You can see, for example, here with the Korean pimple patch, there's been an 81% growth in it. So these little slight adjustments that you can get from this information here can really see you through. So not only that, another really cool feature about this is if we go into, let's just go into the Korean pimple patches, seems to be popular. And if we go into insights, you can also see, okay, how many new people have entered the market within the last 180 days? No one. So this is a very bad example, but kind of good in a way. But if I go back a bit and just show you, go back and go into just pimple patches as an example, that's probably the broadest. And if I go to insights, you can see here, okay, so one person launched into pimple patches in the last 180 days. And out of that one person, one was successful. So that's 100% success rate in the person who came on. So this is a really good way to also just explore opportunities before you jump into them. You can also see, okay, how much in terms of the percentage of the click share is taken up by the top 5 products. So you can see here it's 77%. Anything over 50% is pretty strong. This is really dominated. But then again, you could argue there's not been much competition that's come in for this. Not only that, you've also got some great trends that it shows you. So when we were talking earlier about kind of, okay, how many brands are selling products? Are you seeing a massive increase in the number of brands that are coming in? Not really, no. If you're seeing for your particular product that there's been a huge increase in the number of brands that come in, it goes back to that macro influence. It's not your PPC that's doing badly. It's not your listings that's doing badly. Your market's just more saturated. There's more people now selling than they were before. So before you make some drastic changes within your account and your products and your listings and etc., you really want to have this kind of top level understanding of, okay, how much search volume is there? How many new people have come in? How much has the price fluctuated as well over a period of time? It does really give you some really good insights into that. But anyway, I'll stop taking over and I'll pass it over to you, mate.
All right. Go ahead and go to the next. All right, so outside traffic. So this is the one that we're going to spend the most time on because I think it's the biggest one that anyone can do that will help jumpstart your brand and keep you ahead of the rest on Amazon. So one example of this, and I'll steal the screen back from you, George. All right, so one example of this, if we go back and look at pimple patches again, so Mighty Patch is the category leader in this. And you'll see that with their Amazon listing, they're actually getting about 56,000 people organically from Google per month for the search terms that they rank for. So they're actually outselling about every competitor by about 65,000 units a month. So a lot of this is coming from this Google organic rankings that they're achieving. But the second bigger piece that's not calculated there is the backlinks. So they're on a lot of gift lists, Best Buy lists, kind of things. And each of these pages is getting significant amounts of traffic. So no matter what, even if you spent $1 million on Amazon ads, like you would not be able to catch up to the velocity that these people are doing just because there's so much traffic coming from outside of Amazon that really we have no control on. Because if they're clicking in from one of these links, they're pretty much just going to buy the product that they land on. So pretty hard to outrank those items, and you can really build a pretty big moat around yourself. So really, without these, it's going to get harder and harder to rank products on Amazon, especially if you're competing with bigger household brands. A lot of times people ask us if they do compete with Procter and Gamble or someone huge that already has a lot of outside traffic. Should I not do this? No, like you should double down and start right away. You've got to basically fill that gap in traffic that they're getting. And this does take time. It's not an instant kind of success thing. Like you'll start building it and see results in 2 to 3 months. So if you keep pushing it off, you're just going to keep pushing it further and further away. So start right away, no matter kind of where you are. Even if your competitors aren't doing these, you still should do them because it's really one of the only sources of traffic that we can have a greater extent of control on Amazon. So basically how we look at this, you can use Ahrefs, SEMrush, or really any kind of SEO software out there. I prefer Ahrefs mainly because it allows you to create Amazon listings as projects. SEMrush doesn't allow you to do that. They make you buy like a separate software just for Amazon, and it's pretty useless. So I would recommend Ahrefs. It's a little bit more expensive, but you'll get more data. And basically, all you're going to be doing is pasting in the canonical URL for competitors' listings to your listings, and then making sure that you click the path here. If you don't click the path here, you'll get to this kind of ranking page here, and you'll see like 20 million people viewed it. It's because it's looking at all of Amazon. So make sure you have path selected, and the data only correlates to the product that you're wanting to look at. So once we run a canonical URL through this, we're able to see really all the things that we want to see. The domain rating, it's always going to be the same because it's Amazon. That'll be 96 or 98. But the big things that we want to look at is backlinks, referring domains, how many keywords they're ranking for, and what that traffic number looks like. So I would never sell on acne patches just because you're never going to be able to overcome this. They've built a pretty big moat. None of the competitors have come close. I've actually been watching this one for like 2 years now, and they just continue to grow more and more each year. So looking at the backlinks, the big things that we're going to want to look at is what gift lists are they getting added to, what content sites are they getting added to that are producing traffic. Ahrefs gives you that estimated page traffic. If you're on like this top list here, 70 best white elephant gifts, obviously all 17,000 of those people aren't going to be clicking through. It may be like 1 or 2%, probably even less on a huge list like that. But if you're on like a top 5 list or a top 10 list, probably 10 to 15% of those people are clicking through on some of those products. So you can start to estimate what that data looks like and which publishers you'll want to reach out to start publishing content, or if you want to create your own and what to copy. So for this, you can download this as an Excel sheet. We sort it by page traffic, and then we look at what's actually driving traffic to those pages. Like a lot of these, we aren't going to outrank Allure, Healthline, or Real Simple. They're big, well-known websites. But what you'll start to see as you look at a lot of these, there are a lot of junk websites that are getting a ton of traffic just because they are the only ones creating content around certain things within this product. This obviously isn't as true with more general broad products, but like an example I was looking at earlier was on floor cleaning products. There's really no one that's talking about how to maintain hardwood floors or take care of certain floors. So if you start writing content on that, you're instantly going to start ranking on Google very, very quickly. And you could get crazy traffic numbers like this on a website that you put together or hired someone to put together. So if you do see these big publishers, best thing is really just to reach directly out to those. Almost all of these placements are pay to play. So start reaching out, pay them the fees that they want. They can usually send you some data on them, but really good results with these. And we'll also go through how you can get a lot of these placements for very cheap on some of these websites as well. So when you're looking at that and say you wanted to go ahead and create websites yourself, we will go through and look at what keywords they're ranking for organically on Google, and then we will sort it by keyword difficulty up to 20. This is just showing you keywords that would be easier to rank for in Google. So hydrochloride patches is going to be easier. Best pimple patch is going to be even easier because it's a 6 versus a 9 on keyword density. So this is kind of the start of how we're figuring out what content we want to go for and how we may craft some of our website pages if we do choose to create a website, or even if we're creating a post for a publisher to publish. This will help show you what keywords you should be targeting within those posts. And then the next piece that we'll look at is for each of those keywords. So this is actually the results for best pimple patch. These are all the websites in order of what appears. You can see their Amazon listing is number 1. But a lot of these like NY Mag, Target, Walmart, Factor, Face Story, The Cut, all of these are very like well-known websites, except for this Good Light one. And you can easily check that by looking at their domain rating over here. Usually anything above 50 is a pretty good website that's going to be hard to overcome. But if you do see a keyword that has a lot of low domain authority numbers here, like sub 20, or if you just see a lot of weird web addresses that you've never ever heard of, you can probably write content yourself on that specific keyword and rank pretty easily. For this example, what we'll kind of get into is I would run parasite SEO, which is where you're basically paying high domain authority publishers to publish content about your product, and it will instantly rank because Google finds those websites highly relevant for a lot of things, and we'll go through some examples on that. But those can be kind of a way to jumpstart this process because you'll start to see results in 2 to 3 days. So if we're doing self-created content, the other piece that you want to add in is kind of the golden keyword ratio. This is very similar to Amazon content optimization. So like if you guys use Data Dive, or even Helium 10 has it as well, it tells you how many listings have that keyword in their title on Amazon. It's the exact same thing for Google. So how many websites have that specific keyword and the H1 tag on their website? And what we're doing is looking for ones that have low ratios here. And then we're looking at the traffic chart. So if our website gets 0 traffic, if you're starting a new website, you can only target keywords that are getting 10 searches per month. You can see it increases nicely, and you'll start getting traffic if you start posting for those longer tail terms, and then you can work your way up. But if you would jump straight into one of these keywords where you would need 500 searches per month on your website, you just wouldn't rank for it. So you've got to kind of stack these things up, very similar to launching a product on Amazon. And I'll show you an example of what that looks like. So this is, again, for pimple patches here. You can see all of these are relatively hard, but what you'll do is you will just paste your keywords in here. You'll paste your search volume from Google in here, and then you can click over and it will tell you exactly how many websites have that exact keyword in their H1 tag, so 34,000. Which is quite a bit. But if let me change this, blemish stickers for women. If we click this one, you'll see only 3 results have that in their H1 tag. So if that was an example of a keyword that was being searched, that would be a great keyword to go ahead and start writing content on. And basically you continue to work your way up here as well, just picking off the low-hanging fruit as you go. And you can see pretty quick results. I'll show you some examples here of websites that we've created and have done this with. But within a few weeks, you'll start getting like 20, 30 people a day to the site. Within a few months, it can be a few hundred a day. It really just depends on how competitive your category is. And then here you can just see more just for reference, kind of what we just looked at visually. And we'll share all of this over so you can walk through it, and there's videos attached to it as well. And it will kind of guide you on what you'll need to do if you are going to create that content. The second piece that we look at is how do we copy those competitors? So let me share again here. And we'll do this first keyword. So if I go to Google and search this, you may see this spam thing come up if you do the all in title searches. Google doesn't really like you doing those in mass quantities, and I've been doing a lot of them today. But just check the box that you're not a robot and you'll be fine. But let me find an article here that we can go to. You don't want to click on any of the ones that are stores. So we'll click on Healthline and say I was going to create content for this keyword. This website is ranking decently well. Once you install the SEO metadata in one click, it will actually give you all the data on their headlines and tags and what they're writing about. So we can actually copy this out. I would just copy that, and then we'd go back to the search results. Let me find one more to look at here. You want to find one that's not a store. It's a lot easier to do on less competitive products. Let's do this one because this is a great example of parasite SEO. So someone paid to post this on The Independent. This isn't The Independent writing about these, but you can do the same thing, and we'll grab all of their tags. And where this becomes important is we're basically pasting all of these into a Word doc, and then you can actually take them to an AI content writer and say, like, write content that covers all of these aspects, and it will write it. And then you have a more detailed post than anyone else that's in those search rankings because you're combining everyone else's, and Google will reward you for that at the end of the day. But makes it super, super simple, and that plugin is free, so I highly recommend everyone use it. Use these to look at different search terms on Amazon. Google and Amazon search are starting to shift more and more towards each other. So if Google finds a website relevant for a certain keyword, you want to make sure that you're talking about whatever certain elements they're talking about in Google on your Amazon listing as well. George, you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure, I'll take this one. Okay. And I just wanted to add a little bit as well, if you don't mind. So if you don't mind, stop sharing your screen so then I can share mine. That'd be great. Thank you, mate. Cool. And I just wanted to add a little bit to kind of to complement what Matt basically mentioned. So like when we look at Keyword Explorer, if you're going for like the top 10, top 20, top 30 kind of pages, it's going to be very hard to do that. But if we do go to like the patches here, for example, you can see here when you go to answer the questions, they're getting decent volumes of question, and still the difficulty of those keywords ain't that bad. So just to give you an example of what we're always messing with this, we're always going into Keyword Explorer, putting in kind of conditions where the keyword difficulty is fairly low, and then we're trying to pick out what is there that we can target. And just to kind of take this as an example, obviously there's a few more things that you have to factor in, but we can go in and find. Well, firstly, the one thing you want to do is you want to stop the approach of trying to target keywords. So Google are moving away from that, and Google are looking more at the kind of the semantic relevance of terms. So they want to see, okay, are you an authority on a specific topic? So if you had a website that spoke and answered every question under the sun about these type of patches, for example, you're more likely to rank, right? Amazon's going to see, okay, the information you're providing is actually very reliable, and then you're going to start to rank. So if you wanted to go down this approach, what you could end up doing is search for terms related to your product or type of products that you sell. Then you can use this free tool. I just found it on Google. It's ask Optuma, whatever it is, .com, and you can put that in there, and it will create you a complete map of what kind of articles you can write about, everything under the sun. How these patches work, the uses of these patches, the benefits of using them, disadvantages, how to apply them, types of these patches, all sorts, right? It goes into all that detail. And then what you can then do is you can then start to search, right, this first article I want to write about, who is actually ranking on the first page on the Google search results page, right? So we found this. So just as Matt said, accept and continue, you can go and you can take the headings and you can put them into ChatGPT. You can get 3 or 4 of these and go, right, can you actually structure these H1 and H2 tags so I can write an article? Then what you can then do is you can take that information and so let's just say, how do these patches work? Copy it, and then you can use a tool like I can find it wherever it is. Okay, so SEOwriting.ai, which we love. You can go to dashboard, and then it gives you the option of creating one blog post, or if you have everything in line, you can actually go straight into creating a bunch of these. So let's just say you want to do this, how they work, and then we can put the keyword as that, paste it here, and then it will generate the keywords for you for exactly what terms are going to be covered within this particular article, right? Matt, if I do anything wrong here, correct me. I have been messing with this quite a lot over the last month, but just in case. So you can use tone of voice. You can be friendly, professional, informational. I like to use informational. I like to use third party. Select the country. So that's going to be really important as well, to the US. How many images do you want it to make? And these are AI generated images with alt text put into the images, right? You can have conclusion, tables, H3 tags, lists. You can connect to the web. Let's just do yes for that. Publications. This is where I've linked to. This is one of the websites I'm just messing with, elderlywellness.com. You can attach it to a WordPress site. Then you can choose the category that you want it to go under. So this is completely relevant. You can use OpenAI, and then you can post. You can run it. Click continue and run. So while that's running and while it's creating that page, I just want to kind of show you something else. So something else I was messing with like a few weeks ago is headaches. And then when I was messing with headaches, I wanted to see, okay, anything under 20 kind of keyword difficulty score. And what I found is, where is it? This example is not going to show up now, is it? So I found dogs that get headaches. So that wasn't a particular, that's a topic you can cover. So let's just see if there's anything here. What tea is good for headaches? It's probably not the best example. But the point I'm trying to make here is you can really mess around with this and find, okay, what kind of products do you sell? What are the kind of questions that people are asking about that product? And then you can kind of create the questions around that. So if I go to the articles, 80% done. And what I might do is, no, we can wait. Should we wait? Let me just show you actually. Let me show you one of these that I created, shingles. So you can see here, complication of shingles, key takeaways, skin complications, symptoms, effects, treatments, joint complications of shingles. So it covers it in great depth. You can see this, and it's covering every question under the sun about shingles. So when you create that authority and you create all these pages and you show the search engines that actually you're going very specific into a certain topic, and then you're likely to kind of rank really well for it. And I'll show you some examples at the end of this. So this patches one is created. You can see here, it's created the tables. It's not then the AI images. I think I need to update something, but it was doing it before in my original kind of posts that I've done here. I've done a bunch of these already. So Matt, do you mind if I just pass it over to you? Unless there's anything else I missed. No. Yeah, over to you, mate.
Yeah, no problem. And I'll just add, once you have this process down, I've created probably in the last week like 2,700 posts, and it's all fully automated, all connected to WordPress. We don't have to do anything beyond give it the keywords, and it just kind of goes. So super simple once you understand the process. The next piece that we'll go over is parasite SEO. And this is something, if you're competing in a heavily dominated category by a lot of big publishers, or you're just a very competitive category, or you want to jumpstart it and see results right away, you can basically do parasite SEO. And what this is basically you're paying for placements on other websites. They'll post whatever content you want. So you can see the examples here are Forbes and New York Times. These are both pretty expensive placements. On average, most of the ones that you'll want to be doing are between like $10 to $100. And you can use the website AdsY to find these. We have a few other sources that we'll share with you as well as some direct connects with some of these websites where you can get better deals. But basically with these sites, you will instantly rank towards the top of page one on Google with your content within 2 to 3 days of those being posted. And I'll show you one here. So like a great example of one is a website called Outlook India. This is a news website from India. You can see they get a ton of traffic. They did kind of get hit with Google's helpful content update a few months ago, and it's been slowly coming down, but they're still getting millions of people a month. If we sort it so that it's only in the United States, you'll see they were getting like 9 million people a month in the United States. It's down to about 1.8 million now. But if you look at the keywords, there's going to be a lot of weird keywords in here because people use this to like sell feet pictures and things as well. Like it's a very weird thing once you go down this rabbit hole. But like within this, like let's search for, I'll do keto. So BioPure keto gummies, turbo keto gummies, basically all of these people are paying to have these posted. And it's supposed to say like sponsored post, but it doesn't really say that. But you can see the author is Elite Keto Gummies. They're basically posting their links out within this article to their products. And then this ranks almost instantly within Google. So like if we just copy this URL specifically and I go back here and look, you can see this is ranking for a lot of branded stuff on this one. So not really a great example. Let me find one that's not branded. Let's see if this one. No, that one's pretty branded too. Let me see if I do. A lot of supplements companies use these. So you'll see supplements galore here, but it works for anything and everything. So you can see this company is paying basically for this post and rank position 6 in Google, position 5. Like there's a ton of traffic that they're grabbing from these placements, and you can buy placements on this site for like $100 to $150. So it more than pays for itself. Once the placement's there, it's there indefinitely, and it will continue to get traffic and continue to bump up in Google organic rankings. If we look at the positions on these, oh, there you go. You can see, let me actually click this link. Let's see if it has a date. So this was posted on December 12th. So like a little over a week ago, and you can see within a week, it went from not ranking at all in Google to position 6. So these can generate you traffic very, very quickly. And if you're doing multiple of these at a time, you can really start to skyrocket that traffic up pretty significantly and make a pretty big difference on Amazon. Let me go back to here. So we'll share over how you grab these sites and where you can purchase these posts from. But pretty simple. And then we actually use the AI writing to write the posts as well that we're submitting to these publications. So not a lot of work on your side for these. If you do want to go the route of doing this yourself, which I would highly suggest you do, and you build some websites yourself, that's very simple. I would recommend that you go ahead and buy expired domains. The main reason behind this is a brand new domain can take time to index and rank, sometimes 2 to 3 months to start seeing results. But if you buy an expired domain, you'll actually see pretty much instant results. So there's a couple places you can find them. GoDaddy Auctions is really the main provider of these, but I like using expireddomains.net because it allows you to search for keywords or different things that you want, and it will show you all the domains that are available on any of the auction sites, as well as ones that aren't on the auction sites. They've just dropped because someone didn't renew them that year, and you can buy them for the normal domain price of like $9. So it's great to find a lot of these. George has seen the back end of like my Namecheap account. I own hundreds and hundreds of domains. Anytime I find one, I just buy it. Even if I have no use for it, I just like buying these. But really what we're looking for is recently ranking terms that are relevant for your products or your brand, that the overall content of the website was at one time about kind of what your brand is about or your products, that it has strong backlinks to it, that it previously wasn't used for nefarious content. A lot of times what you'll see with these is they use them for like gambling websites because expired domains have a lot of power. You can rank gambling websites with them. And we use Ahrefs to check all of this. So find the domains on expireddomains.net and then go ahead and go into Ahrefs and look at them. We'll run through some examples here of some sites, and then I'll show you a couple live that I was looking at earlier. So when you do a search on expireddomains.net, like I was searching for birds, and this is actually one that we'll look at. So hummingbirdcalendars.com is for sale. I like to look at this RUSK, and it's basically just telling you like keywords that are still ranking in Google. With expired domains, sometimes Google will drop them. So seeing that some keywords are still ranking, it means that Google still thinks that website is up. So it's a lot easier to start getting instant traffic from it. So I always try and look for websites like this. This example is actually a really good one for anyone that sells bird-related products at all. We'll go into it in detail, but I would snatch this up if you sell anything bird-related. We then use Wayback Machine to look at the website. So you can see hummingbirdcalendar.com. It looks like a Chinese company owned it most recently. So not a great example, but you can look back through all the years as long as it did have some traffic to it and some of the content was about birds. And prior years, it's still a good domain to buy, but always check this. And then we're looking at bad backlinks. So on this website, here's some examples of bad backlinks. Anytime you're seeing like just weird things that are websites you've never heard of, and the domain authority or domain rank is like 0 or 1 or 2, probably means that sometime it was used for spam. Like this example I'll show you, it was at one point in time, but it has been fixed. Here's an example of one that I was looking at as well for hummingbirds, hummingbirdplus.org. This is the one that I would actually buy too as well if you're in the bird niche, but you can see their main backlinks are Wikipedia and like websites that actually have domain authority, as well as like this natural sciences, which is an education piece, which Google loves. So if you see Wikipedia links, like buy it. It's a great website to do this on, or if you see any other government websites or educational websites linking to it, snatch it up as quickly as you can. So here's that Hummingbird Plus. This is a domain that you can buy actually right now for about $200 on GoDaddy auctions. You can see currently in Google, it's ranking for 130,000 keywords, and it's getting 116,000 people a month to their website. So if I was to buy this, I would buy it and recreate the website so that it looks exactly the same as it does right now. And then I would go back through and drop in Amazon brand referral links to all of my products on all the relevant pages. I would also drop in Amazon associate links on pages that my products don't really align with, but other products do. We've done this with a lot of sites in the past where I may sell like a single bird feeder. I don't really sell hummingbird feeders or things around hummingbirds, but I can still get enough traffic from this website to make it worth it for my products. But if you use Amazon associate links, you can also see how well those other products are converting, and it'll give you ideas on new products that you can go ahead and launch within these categories. And you'll have a leg up because you've got 116,000 people coming to your website that you can basically push that traffic wherever you want to make a purchase. And then I'll show you a live search here. And this is something that takes some practice, I would say, because you're not going to find, like, say you're selling like keto gummies, like we were looking at earlier, you're not going to find a website that's just like ketogummies.com on here. Like a good example is saying you sell like drain cleaners or something along those lines. A great website that is highly relevant to drain cleaners is expired domains for plumbers and different areas that have basically abandoned their domain or the business went out of business. You can buy those domains and flip them over. They have really good indexing, typically because they were local businesses at some point, and then you can switch it all to an informational site and do really well. But when you're on expired domains, you can basically not filter it and just look at all of the domains that are available. I would recommend starting here and just kind of looking through some of the top domains that are still getting traffic. You may see one that kind of pops out. But like, let's say we'll do the bird category again. So we'll just drop in bird and we'll search. Oops, let me log back in. And this website is free. They just make you create an account. But it'll start to show you all the websites. It'll show you all the websites that have bird in them. Right now I'm on GoDaddy auctions, which is why it's only showing a limited amount here, and you can see the one that we were just looking at. But if I switch back over to deleted domains and do the same search, it will show you all the different websites that have birds somewhere in them. Some won't be relevant, like this one's about coffee, this one's about flowers, this one's like a radio station. But you can go through these, and then if you find one that you like that looks relevant, like we'll take the calendar example, you can take it over to Ahrefs and you can go ahead and drop it in and start to look at those metrics and see if it makes sense. And this is one that I wouldn't buy because we did see on the backlink data here that it's got a lot of spam backlinks here recently. So not one that I would go after, but look at the backlinks, look at the keywords. Don't be scared if it says it ranks for 0 keywords right now. I would look at keywords that it ranked for in the past. So like, let me grab this one. So Ahrefs will give you the full history of it, and you can see even many years back, like how many keywords it ranked for. So if it still didn't rank for any keywords now, but it ranked for keywords in 2021, like still a good buy because Google indexed it. They know that it's about birds. It's worthwhile to buy, but you can see this website's actually doing really well here recently. And the crazy thing is it's a pure junk website. It's actually overloaded with ads. I'll show you. They'll start loading here in a second. Here's the first one that popped up, and now they're at the top. It basically ads just pop up everywhere. But this is a great website that you should buy if you do sell bird stuff because all the metrics line up and you can start to grab all of this traffic. All right. And then, so let's say you did buy one of these domains. What do you do after buying it? First thing is you need to recreate the site exactly as it was. Wayback Machine, which is just archive.org, they have actually a tool that does this for you. Just give it the web address and it will give you the entire site map from whatever date that you want. And you can upload that to WordPress and basically it will create the exact same website. Once you do that, you want to submit it to Google Search Console and you want to wait for the site to be re-indexed if it's not currently indexed. If it is currently indexed, then you can start adding additional content right away. But if it's not ranking for any keywords right now, wait 2 to 3 weeks until you start to see those rankings, and then you can start adding content. If you do want to add content to a site that's currently not indexed in Google, do all of the new content before you submit it to Google Search Console. If you do it after, it will hurt the rankings, but if you do it beforehand, you can get away with adding like 10 to 15 new pages per website. Once the website is starting to get rankings back, that's when you're going to want to use your like AI writer, like the one that we showed earlier, and start posting 2 to 3 semantic articles per week. This will help just increase the rankings and re-signify your topical authority within certain categories. So like that bird site, for example, it's all about hummingbird feeders. But if you sell bird feeders for finches, I would create a new like sub domain on that and start doing content all about finches and build out each individual piece from there and just keep expanding to different birds so that we become a source of knowledge for all things kind of bird feeder associated. And then the big thing is just inserting all of those brand attribution links and Amazon associate links. There are a couple WordPress tools which we'll share out with the slides that make this super simple. The main one that I use is Lasso. And instead of going article by article and putting your links in, this will actually pull up a search function and I could search for every instance of like finch feeder within my website and I could replace it instantly with a brand attribution link all at once. So it takes no time at all and you can pump out thousands of links to this website within 10, 20 minutes. So super simple. And honestly, like anyone can do this. It may seem daunting to begin with, but I would mess around with it and test it. I've been going deep into this for probably the last year. George, you've been doing it for a few months now and like you've got it down. Like it does not take much time to actually get really good at this. this is a good example of some domains that I've started. So here's one that I started on January 30th, which is right about here. It took us until the beginning of April to start seeing organic rankings because it was 100% net new domain. This is an expired domain that I just started a little over a month ago. So you can see right here is November 10th, and then by like November 15th, it started ranking for keywords. So we're basically at the same spot on both of these right now, even though this one was only started a little over a month ago. So that's a lot of the power of those expired domains and just kind of jump starting this process. So you've created one site, like what's next? Keep creating sites. We're creating tons of these each week. You could use the exact same content on different sites. They will all rank differently for keywords. So you never know what's going to do well. Once you do a few of these and realize how easy the process is, you can train a VA or anyone to do it, and they can start whipping out 3 to 5 of these a week pretty easily. Focus the new sites on keywords that you aren't currently ranking for on the sites that you have authority on. And then once your sites start having domain authority above 20, you can actually start cross-linking all of your sub websites and creating your own kind of personal blog network. And what this does is now I can go and buy a bunch of net new domains, and then I can instantly add backlinks to those new domains from all of my existing high authority domains. And you can basically eliminate that net new website like down period and instantly start ranking for a lot of this. So within a few months, if you're creating a lot of websites, this becomes very powerful and you can do a lot of things with it. You can also use it to manipulate your Amazon organic rankings by pumping a bunch of good backlinks to your Amazon listing. If you are going to go full steam ahead with this and start creating a bunch of sites, you need to kind of cover the fingerprints of the sites. So no more than 3 sites hosted per server or hosting service. That way Google's not able to backtrack that they're all linked to you. Also, when you're integrating with Google Search Console, you do have to have a Google account. Just make sure that you're switching, creating new Gmail addresses every 3 to 5 sites for these as well, so that it's harder for Google to trace it back, because Google doesn't like you creating a bunch of websites about the exact same content over and over again, unfortunately. But basically the result of this is you're going to get your products to rank naturally in Google. You're going to get featured in more of those gift lists and PR things naturally without spending any dollars on them. You have complete control of these traffic sources. I can change what products that traffic's going to instantly. So you're going to boost your Amazon rankings. They'll be more consistent. And then when you do have like a launch setup, I can go into all of my websites and use that lasso plugin that I was talking about and switch all of my links from my product that I'm currently selling to my new product. And you no longer have to do giveaways or discounted ranking campaigns. You can basically just start sending traffic instantly to those new products. So it's really a superpower to have. And as you kind of continue to grow this, you're just going to dig that moat deeper and deeper, and no one will really be able to catch up to you after a while. Here's the resources. We've got some other spreadsheets and things that will be coming over in the email tomorrow from Sarah. But if you guys have any questions, you can also email us. All right.
Okay, great. Well, Matt, thank you so much for that.